Guys, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Tati. I'm back at it again with another video, and today we're going to be doing a makeup tutorial. Disclaimer, I'm not a big professional makeup person. I don't know everything there is to know about makeup. I'm still learning. These are just tricks that I've learned myself from watching YouTube tutorials and some stuff that I personally like doing when doing my makeup routine. So let's just get into the video. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is priming, which it's just going to be a regular LA Girl primer. Oh, missed a step. Almost missed a step. I'm going to moisturize first. I'm going to moisturize using the Olay SPF moisturizing lotion. This is really good because I have oily skin. Well, I have oily combination skin. So, and it doesn't get oily. It actually makes my face like dry, matte. And I just mainly spread it out in these areas of my face. Okay. Now I'm going to be priming. Let me actually turn on some more light. And I prime everywhere, my eyes, in the middle of my face, and spread it outwards. So now that we're done with that step, what I'm going to be doing, I have the Fenty, this is, what number again? 450 Pro Filter foundation. And I like to use my fingers to just make, sometimes I'll just squeeze it on my face, but sometimes I just like to use my fingers to put little dots all over my face. And this is a trick that I learned from Jackie, where I don't put a lot of foundation on my forehead. Oh, that's the thing with putting it on your fingers. It can be a little messy. But yeah, that's all I'm going to be putting on my forehead. I just spread all the product that let me just squirt that on there. I'm spraying everywhere, that I move with my brush to cover my forehead area, and none on my nose. Again, I'll just use the brush to spread out the entire area. Oh, another trick, which is basically implementing long-lasting, I don't know, just long-lasting wear throughout your makeup routine. Another step I learned from Jackie and I've seen other YouTubers do the same thing, where they'll spray setting spray or setting mist when blending out their foundation. And I'll just be looking in my mirror here. So as I said, and I don't swipe my foundation until like I've gotten the product everywhere. So I mostly just stamp it into my face. And as I said, guys, this is just a very basic look. This is not a beat. This is just a basic look that I use to go practically everywhere. If it's not the main thing I would probably change, if it's somewhere like big, fancy, with my eye color, my lip color. But other than that, this is basically all I do. For my forehead, I do swipe the product that's on the brush because I have like laugh lines, and I feel like once I stamp them in, they'll streak. And especially once I'm doing my foundation, I'm always like crinkling my forehead. So I find that sometimes when I stamp and my face smooths out, it's not all evenly placed. So I'll swipe it into the grooves of my laugh lines, if you get what I mean. And then the last part on my nose. My nose is the shiniest area on my face. No matter what I do, I can never seem to get the shine away from my face. And whatever's left on the brush from my foundation, I'll just swipe over my eyes. Because again, this eye, there's not going to be an eye color. It's just going to be a wash of color. It's not going to be a big thing. Okay. And I always remember to get the back and a little bit of my ear, like the back right here, your jawline going downwards, just to make sure there's not a line of demarcation in your face. Okay, once that's done, what I like to do next is to contour. I don't do, it's weird. My eyebrows are like the third thing I do in my makeup. Well, not the third step, but they're like in the middle of my routine. You're gonna think, some people normally do their eyebrows before their foundation. Some do it right after their foundation. What I'm doing now is just using cream concealer to put down my contour. And I'll just stipple some on my face with the little applicator that it comes with. And this is a trick that I learned from Monica Muses. She likes to make sure her nose contour is presentable, you know what I mean? So she goes right here just to create a shadow all the way up to your eyebrows. So I don't really do a nose contour all the way down to my nose. This is normally where I stop, right here. Like right below my eyes is where I stop. And then of course I'll do put some cream concealer right here on my temple. Just not a lot, because once I bronze my face, it will all be warmed up, so I don't really use a lot of contouring, cream contour. And then, where's my, I can't find my blender. Oh, here it is. What I'll do, guys, I forgot to damp my blender, so I'll do that and be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. So blender's all wet, damp. What I like to do after I damp it is spray a little setting mist. And I do use the pointed end for, why did I spray the bottom? For by blending out my contour. So and I bring it all around the perimeter of my face. And I drag downwards just to create the shadow. I do like to make sure everything's blended out. And I do go back in with the tip of the sponge to just press in the concealer for my nose contour. And this is the reason why I don't do my eyebrows right after my foundation, because I like to get in with my sponge all the way up to my eyebrow. And that, after, if you've already done your eyebrows, you would have to go back and clean everything up, and you know. So now is when I'll be doing my eyebrows. Okay. So guys, I should probably let you know that my eyebrow routine is going to be a little different. My eyebrows are not waxed. They're a little all over the place right now. Normally when I do have them waxed, I would just fill them in, brush them, fill them in, and then line them with a little bit of concealer just to clean up the edges and the tail of my eyebrow. But now, because, you know, haven't been done, they look at this, they look kind of raggedy. So I'll just be fully concealing around my eyebrows after I filled them in. Let me just brush them to get them all in one place. Okay. And just create a little bit of hairs right there. I don't know why my eyebrows are set like that. They have little fine hairs right at the front, not like in the center where you'd have a unibrow, but right at the front of my eyebrow that go outwards, like one long strand goes outwards apart from the rest of my eyebrows. Once I asked the lady that was waxing my eyebrows if she could just get them off while she was plucking, and she did, and it looked horrible. So from then on, I just allowed them to just grow, and whenever I'm filling in my eyebrows, I'll just go outwards a little bit more and then brush it out in the end to really fade out, because it's not a lot of hair in the area that I'm talking about. But it's just right here where it looks like more more of the eyebrow pencil than anything, but there's actual fine hairs that curve outwards of my eyebrows. I don't know why, but that's what I do to just combat that process. I just kind of lightly brush strokes of the pencil in that area at the front right there. Okay, we look a little crazy right now, but once we clean them up, I'm actually going to be using this, the Fenty concealer, and a brush to clean them up. Let me see, I'll just use this one. An eyebrow brush, so I'll just put some on my hand right there. And this will take a moment because I like to concentrate, so I'll just do this in the mirror and get back to you. And I feel like when doing my eyebrow, once the tail is precise, everything just comes together better. Let me just put a little bit more concealer. Now for the other side. And when I'm doing my eyebrows, I try to make the lines that I make at the bottom with the concealer be even in line with each other to know that my eyebrows are actually even. They're not supposed to be twins. I know that. People always say they're not supposed to be twins. They're supposed to be sisters or cousins or whatever. So I know that they won't look exactly the same on both sides, but I try to make where they start and where they end in the middle like perfectly even, going straight across. And when blending this out, it does take a little time. I don't want to have that line around my eyebrows, that, because you know your concealer is a little bit lighter than your face, than your foundation. So that line, I don't want to have that line around my eyebrows. So it does take a little time so as not to mess up the actual line of your eyebrow. So what I do is like to work my brush downwards, just to get rid of the excess concealer. Pull it down my eyelid, and do the same And then for the top, be careful, but just brush your brush outwards away from your eyebrow. And then another trick I've used is to dip your brush, the brush that you use to clean up your eyebrow, into a shade of, you can use your foundation or a shade in concealer matching your face, your face foundation, and just swipe it along. To get rid of the cast. Sorry guys, I got called away, so back to it. So as I was saying, I just take a color and concealer that's close to my foundation, just brush away the cast that is around, just at the bottom, that is around my eyebrow. And then once that's done, what I like to do is just be careful, stamp around it. Not all the way up to my eyebrow, of course, just the concealer that's around it. And then for at the top is where I go as close as possible with my sponge and just press so as not to mess up my eyebrow. And then we want to get that line in the center, and there you go. They're not as neat as I would like them to be because my eyebrows look crazy, as I said earlier, but they're gonna do for now. And then I'll just brush up the hairs at the front, like I said, and then do the same along the ends. Just make sure everything's laying flat. I want to try out eyebrow pomade that goes over the hairs of your eyebrows once you finish them, and see how that would work for me. There you go. Alright, so back to the face. Just move that over there. Okay, so for concealer, what I do, it's very minimal. Just a little bit at a time. I do not like to conceal all the way down my nose because, as I said, it is very shiny. So I do let it dry down for just a little. Let me just use my face brush to just go around my eyebrows. See what I mean? Brushed it out of place. I'll just fix that back right there. Okay. And I do like, I never did before, but now I like to use a brush to just control the areas under my eye with the concealer. So after I've just placed down the concealer where I want it, I'll go onto my chin. And then whatever is left on the brush, I'll use here. I do not like to put creams or liquid on my forehead because my T-zone is the oiliest place on my face. Around my face is normally, if I'm not careful, it'll get really dry. But in the center of my face and around my nose area, right at the tip of my nose, my cheeks get very, very oily, even in my eyelids. And then I'll brush this upwards instead of down. Is that my stomach? I'm not even hungry. What was that? I saw a little bit of concealer on my eyebrow. And that's all she wrote. So what I would do after this is just for the end right here with my foundation brush, I would just go right over the edges of where I laid down the concealer before I set. And then press down. That's why I sprayed setting mist right on the flat edge here. I would just press down under my eye where I put down the concealer. Oh, look, a lash came out. And then this is a new powder that I'm gonna be using. I haven't used it before. I bought it recently. I think I bought it like 2 days ago. And this is the first time I'm going to be using it. Let me just get this plastic off. Oh my god. It's a banana powder. So let me get my powder brush. And let me just take... I do not use a sponge until I'm pressing everything in. My camera just went out for some reason. I don't know why. So yeah, that's all I use, and then I'll just dust off the excess. I do not bake. I am not a baker. So if that's something you're into, just know that you will not be finding it on this step. Maybe you will. You never know. People evolve and change their makeup routines a lot. So I can't say never. But for now, that is not something I'm very, like, used to doing. And as I said, this is just a makeup routine of the stuff that I normally do. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I even move on is that contour that we put right up against our eyebrow got lost after doing our eyebrows and putting on concealer and everything. So I just want to touch that up. Not a lot, because it's not completely gone. And then with the sponge, the tip of the sponge, be careful. And just work that out. I do have a smaller sponge that I use for places like that. I just can't find it. And there's a new one. There's a new set that I have in a drawer somewhere. I just need to really look for them. Okay. In a previous video I told you guys I'm not a very big fan of blush. So what I like to do is skip straight ahead to bronzer. This is also a new bronzer. I bought a travel size of the Caramel Cutie that Fenty came out with. It's just, I like it. I feel like I should have went darker, obviously, because it's not really showing up on my skin. So what I normally just use it for is just as a powder, because you know these things are universal. Use them for a lot of stuff. So on my nose, just a little bit on my forehead. I can never have enough powder on my forehead and my nose. So I don't know if you've noticed, but most of the stuff that I've applied that are powder, I make sure they go towards my nose, because this area is a big problem area for me. And just as I use the powder, it's the bronzer as like to just set over my cream contour that I put down. Okay, so I bought a new bronzer also by Wet n Wild. I just want to see how it does. It does have a little bit of shimmer. I don't know if you can see. It does have a little bit of shimmer in it. Let me see how it goes. Okay. It's not as dark. I just really need a good contour. It's not as dark as I would like it to be either. It's showing up, but it's not doing what I needed to do. And then the shimmer is like adding a little bit of like highlight to my face, which is always good. I do like highlight. And that's all she wrote for the bronzer, because it's not really doing what I want it to do. And then I'll set my entire face with the Fenty Beauty Nutmeg Pro Filter setting powder. Again, I'll just use my powder brush. Dust off that. I still have a little bit too much. And then just go on my nose, around my mouth. I do have laugh lines, guys. Just all the areas that I didn't use the first powder for. Just all over my face, down my neck, and right on my nose. Okay, and that is that. For my eyes, you guys must be wondering, she's just gonna completely overlook her eyes. No, I am not. What I like to do is, again, the Fenty bronzer. What's it called? Caramel Cutie. I'll just swipe some on my eye. Because my eyes are very, I don't know why, but they're always so oily. And the thing with me, I have hooded eyelids. So when my eyes are open, where's my lid? Can't see any of my lids. Just a little piece right there. So I do try to bring color up as high as I can when I am applying color. But for when I'm just doing this look, what I would do is use a burgundy-ish color just to give myself a wash of color all along my eye. And what I do, since I do have hooded eyes, is I try to look up. Just tilt my head back, I mean, when I'm putting on eyeshadow. Just a simple wash of color, I can build it up. And it's good that I'm just using all powders for me. If you have the same problem that I do with the oily areas, my eyelids are very oily. It's good that I'm only using the bronzer that I used to powder my eye, and then I'll just put the wash of color, any wash of color you choose, over my eye. Sometimes I'll use a darker color, like when I'm doing a smoky look or a darker look, I just use a darker brown or a black and just wash it along my eye, around my eye. And that does the trick. And there we go. I don't know if you can see it. My light is blocking it. But yeah, just a simple wash. Can't really tell. Let me back up. There it is. It's a simple wash of color. And what I do sometimes, because I'm not a big fan of blush, I often find like alternatives to just give myself a little color, is I'll smile. And the rosiest color, like a purpley, like a deep purple, I'll just put it on my cheeks. That's what I love with makeup. It's so, there's no rules. You use anything for anything. Sometimes I'll use a tinted lip gloss or lipstick for my eyes if I find the color very pretty. There's this look I did on my Instagram where my eyelids and my lip and my cheeks, they were all my lipstick. But yeah, that's just what I do for a little color. Nothing dramatic. So if you don't have a blush, and you're not a big fan of blush, but the look you're doing requires you to have a little bit of color. And you don't want to go out and buy a blush that you know you're going to only use for one specific, you know, look at the time. You just use, this is the color that I used. Let me show you. This is the color right here. Can't really see it on camera, the color, really well. But it's this color right here. And for the darker looks that I'm talking about, this is the darker brown that I would use. And what I do, no, let me use the, it's still kind of damp, and I'll just pat it into my cheek to get that powdery look gone, so it doesn't look so textured. And just drag it all the way up my cheek. And there we go. And that is it. So I'll set my face, spray my face. I'll go over with the sponge to just press everything in. I do like a little highlight. I almost forgot. I'll just do, should I do the Fenty highlight? I think I'll do the Fenty highlight. And I have this stick. This is cinnamon, the matchstick. Ooh, okay. And what I do, I do it sometimes where I'd just swipe it a little bit, just stamp it along my cheek, just like that, and then a little bit over my eyebrow. But not a lot, and then I'll just fan it out. This already has a little bit on it from the last time I used it, and a little bit of blush. I always like to mix my blush and my highlighter when I'm applying blush. And normally you can see that it's a little pink. Whenever I'm applying blush, it's normally an eyeshadow of some sort. Or this blush that I have from the Maybelline and Gigi Hadid collection. It's normally this pink color right here. Okay. It's normally this pink color right here. And I'll just swipe that up. And above my eyebrow. And we are done. Here we go. And that's everything. I'm going to be stepping out into the natural light so you guys can get a chance to see everything up close.